get something from another author and you want to use it inside your term paper, you must cite it. Why do you do so? Because you want to give credit where it is due. You want to acknowledge another author's work. Okay? And when you do that, which we also said last week, it allows the reader to access more information. So when I see, for example, Doreen has quoted Brown 2020, then I want more information. If it was a direct quote, Doreen could have even put the pages. So I can easily access more information, go back to where Doreen referred to, and I read more. So you follow citation, you will put the name of the author, and you also have to put the year in the in-text citation. If the date is not available, we normally write ND for the no date. But we will have to put the author's last name. Inside the text, you don't put the initials, you just put the last name and the year of publication. So let's see an example. If we are dealing with a book, maybe with or an item, we are referring to an article with one author. Now, what I'm calling a signal phrase is like, for example, we say, Carol 2016, we say states that. Or maybe we say asserts that. That is what I call the signal phrase. Okay? So the first one has a signal phrase, states that. The second one does not have. So let's see. So we see Carol 2016 states that a traumatic response frequently entails, then there is a direct quotation now, delayed and controlled repetitive appearance of hallucinations and other intrusive phenomena. So, because we have quoted directly what the person has said, which we have put in open and closing inverted commas, we have to put the page there. So page 11. And without the signal phrase, so and so states that, then we just say, a traumatic response frequently entails, then in quotes, delayed and controlled repetitive appearance of hallucinations and other intrusive phenomena. Then at the end, now everything is in bracket, Carol, 2016, page 11. So the first one with a signal phrase. The second one does not have a signal phrase. Another example, Whitney 2011. So here you can see it is indirect quotation. There is nothing in inverted comma. And that is why even the page numbers have not appeared. But what you should know is that the surname and the year can either appear at the beginning, like in the first example, or it can appear in the middle, like in the second example, or you may put it at the end, as in the third example. So let me take you through the first one. Whitney 2011 should be states the body requires many nutrients to function, but highlight that water is of greater importance than any other nutrient, full stop. So that's a case where you want to put the author name and year at the beginning. You can also break the statement into two, then you put the reference citation, the in-text citation in the middle. Water is an essential element in anyone's diet, and Whitney 2011 emphasizes that it is more important than any other nutrient. Again, you can put it at the end. So notice when you put it at the end, both the author's name, Whitney, and the year come all in bracket at the end. So water is a necessary part of every person's diet. And of all the nutrients a body needs to function, It requires more water each day than any other nutrient. So middle, beginning, and at the end. If it has at the end, everything is inside the brackets. So what are we saying? If you are in texting, you should cite all the information that you've used from other sources in your paper. Whether they are direct quotations, you must cite. Tell us the author, the year, and of course, if it is direct, the page will also appear. If you are paraphrasing, yes.
We can't see your screen.
Really? Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Thanks for letting me know. Let me just go back. See. So I'm sorry about that. I'll do it again. Sorry. That's what I said. You just shout it out. I'll start from where I started. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Right. Let me just go back to where I started. Oh, those are the things we did last week. Okay, so I was here. So I started by telling you what APS citation is in full. And there it is, American Psychological Association. And then I said it regulates style, whether you are doing in-text or in-text. And then what are the kinds of things that we reference? We reference stamp papers. Just a minute, let me check. Oh, Ivy, you've never seen the com skills on your model? Ivy?
Yes.
You've never seen it? Okay. Bernice, have you ever seen it?
Yes.
Doreen, have you ever seen it?
Yes.
Ivy, when you go to the model, you will see DCOMS 110.
Wow.
Okay. If you are not able to see, just contact me or contact your class rep, either Bernice or Lillian. Okay. All right. And please try to write in English, eh? Okay. So I was telling you that we use this referencing style either in our term papers, in our research reports, literature reviews, like when you're doing a project, normally some formats will have it in chapter 2, case studies or any theoretical articles. So I said we were going to focus on our in-text referencing, and then we talk of the reference list. But we should know, when we call it a reference list, what does it mean? When we call it a bibliography, what does it mean? The reference list and bibliography always appear at the end of your term paper, where you write everything that you used inside the term paper. Okay, we call it a reference list when we are only listing what we have put, the references we have put inside, for example, the term paper. But when you call it a bibliography, it means you are not only at the end listing what is inside your work, but also anything that you might have read, but you have not included inside your text. So there are two main parts of APA referencing, and we are going to talk about two things. We are going to talk about in-text citation, how you do it, and also how you write the reference list, where you now list everything that was inside your term paper. So let's start with the in-text citation. These are all the other areas I had explained, but I've just gone back because you are not seeing it. So any information you use, you must cite. One is, there's somebody, okay. So when you're doing in-text citation, anything you get from someone that you're putting into your text, you have to cite. It's a way of academic integrity. We are acknowledging that the efforts of someone who wrote something and we have gotten our ideas from them. And it is not wrong to get ideas from other people because they help to strengthen your own argument, like we said last week. So I'll say that when you do that, one, you are acknowledging somebody else's efforts, that you used someone else's work, and it also allows you as the reader to get more information if with the work you are reading someone has in-texted. So once you see Ivy has quoted someone, then I may want to go to that article and read more what Ivy read, and maybe I want to get more clarification. I'll go back and read it. So normally you put the name of the author and the year, that's the date. And if the year is not available, you write ND. So if that's it's not, no date is available. So we normally put the last name of the author, the surname, and the year of publication. So for example, you might say Jones, 1998. So, if you are dealing with issues where you have a single author, just one author, then you do it this way. Maybe with a signal phrase. A signal phrase is the reporting phrase, like you say, Karu 2016 states that. Or you can say, notes that, reports that. So Karu 2016 states that a traumatic response frequently entails a delayed and controlled repetitive appearance of hallucinations and other intrusive phenomena. So you can see what is picked directly from Karu is put in inverted commas, opening and closing inverted commas. Then the page number is there, page 11. The one with without a signal phrase, you put everything bracket after you close the quotation. You can see the other one, the name of the author is outside the bracket. It's only the year that is inside the bracket. So without a signal phrase, there's nothing like so and so said this or stated. So a traumatic response frequently entails, then you put the direct words, delayed and controlled repetitive appearance of hallucinations and other intrusive phenomena. Then you close the quotes and you put the name of the author, comma, year 2016, then page 11, quote, full stop. So more examples. In-text citation can either be in the beginning of your, where you paraphrase, or it can be in the middle, or it can be at the end. Now, here there is no direct quotation where you pick the exact words and put in the quotation marks. You have just paraphrased, so you don't need the inverted commas. So in that case, there is no page number here. We don't have a page number here. So Whitney 2011 states that the body requires many nutrients to function, but highlights that water is of greater importance than any other nutrient. When you put it in the middle, you can break the statement into two, so long as it's grammatically correct. So you say water is an essential element of anyone's diet. In Whitney 2011, she emphasizes that it is more important than any other nutrient. So there we put surname and the year of publication. publication in the middle. We can also put it at the end. Water is a necessary part of every person's diet. And of all the nutrients a body needs to function, it requires more water each day than any other nutrient. So, there is no direct quotation, it's a paraphrase or a summary, and you put the name of the author, surname and year, either in the beginning, medially, or at the end. Okay, so this is where we were when I went back to Now, when we are doing intake citations, that is putting indicating where we got the reference from inside like a term paper. So you have to cite all the information, like I said last week, from all the other sources that you used in this paper. And you can do it in form of putting direct quote, inverted commas, and you put the page number, or you can just summarize and paraphrase. But then the page number, the year of publication and the author's surname must appear. So you put it in a parenthesis, in a brackets like this. The author's name and date of publication, especially now in this case, Jones 2016, everything is there. Okay. Well, so you're asking if they have similar names, okay? It is okay. You've seen, for example, there's a book called Bugenda and Bugenda. Yes, you just put the two. Like we say Bugenda and Bugenda 2020, for example. So, let me go back to where I was, where I read that chart. So whenever you use a source, put it like the one in John's 2016, we put that now at the end, where everything appears in bracket. So I've said for quotations and close paraphrases, provide the author's name, date of publication, and page number. This page number is where you use the direct one when there is opening and closing inverted comma. Then that has to be there. So we have 3 key points here in APA citation. Use the author's surname and date format whenever possible. If the source is quoted, you must include the page number. Then if the author's name is not available, you just use the title of the document. Then I said, so if the author's name is not available, just put the title of the document in the place of the author's name. So, look at this. I've given an example of a work of 2 authors. So when citing a given work with the 2 authors, use and in between the authors, especially if it appears at the beginning. So use and in between the author's name and the single phrase. Okay? But then you use the ampersand there, that symbol, between their names and parentheses. So let's read the example. Then we see how that goes. According to feminist researchers, Begin and Ted 2016, so you can see and there. It is no longer true to claim that women's responses to war have been ignored. Then we put the page here. Without a signal phrase, some feminist researchers question that women's responses to war have been ignored. So you see, in the first one you have paraphrased, and you've used that single phrase, that reporting phrase, according to so and so. So in that case, you write and in full. But in the case where you are using the exact words And now the name of the authors and the year, everything is in brackets.
Inaitwaje hii
So
sasa?
there you don't write
Communication
and you use
skills.
that symbol.
Unaweza kuandika email.
Hapana. Hii si ni
More examples
ya
here.
kwa ya kabara. La semester tulifunza Bible karibu nafanya retake ya ile unit.
It's like the quotation is
Ai, Bible ilipika chenga.
and that's why we use a signal phrase like states that.
Nikajua kumbe kweli mimi si mtu wa kanisa.
Even in the second one.
Nenda Mungu.
But in the last one, we are just reporting everything. We are not putting our signal in phrase. It's like we have just put what the author has said, and therefore the name and page number. If it has to be, it will be at the end. So Whitney and Robbs, 2011, states that the body requires many nutrients to function, but highlight that water is of greater importance than any other nutrient. So you can see and in full at the beginning. If the name of the author and the year are put at the beginning, then we use and in full. In the third example, you will see they come at the end, so we don't write and at the full there. The second example, water is an essential element of anyone's diet, and Whitney and Rolls, 2011, emphasized that it is more important than any other nutrient. Second, thirdly, water is a necessary part of every person's diet. And of all the nutrients a body needs to function, it requires more water each day than any other nutrient. So if you bring them at the end, then at the end they must all be inside the bracket, the names of the authors with and written with that symbol, 2011. Okay, we normally even have works by 3 authors. You could have 3 to 5 authors. I have a summary somewhere which I'm going to show you just now, where I put anything beyond 2 authors, 2 to 7 authors, for example. So when citing a work with 3 to 5 authors, I then in the first signal phrase. Then in the subsequent citations, then now you don't have to write all their surnames. You only use the first author's name. You only use the first author's last name. Then you put the word et al., which means others. So, like here now, we have Paclau, Seagal, and Lozi 2015. Then you can say state that this, and that. When you're using them for the first time, you must write all their surnames. But when now you use them a second time in your work, you only quote the first author, then you write et al., which means another. So you just say Paclau et al. So you don't have to write the names of those other authors again. You only list all their surnames when you're using it for the first time in the year. If there are 5 to 3 authors, the same format. Cite all names and publication years for the first time, and thereafter you will just write the name of the first author, then et al. And the years. So you don't need to put the one there. So cite all names and publication year the first time. Thereafter, only the first name, that is the first author's surname, then you follow it with the first time. So the first time you can have Brown, Smith, Jones, 1990, argue that. Okay? Or you can start with the argument, then you put in bracket Brown, Smith, and Jones, 1990, full stop. Thereafter, you only write Brown et al. Because that is the first author. So Brown et al. 1990. Then you say what you want to paraphrase, or you start with whatever you want to paraphrase, and then you just put everything in bracket. Brown et al. 1990.
Una left sasa.
So again, the same thing here. When citing work with 6 or more authors, identify the first authors should be surname followed by a child if it is subsequent time. But the first time, write everybody's name. So let me show you something else. Now I want to move to the end text, but let me give something about end text referencing. Let me plug on my yeah. 1 minute, I'm just continuing. I want to explain end text referencing. I hope you see my screen still. So I explained to you, you can either call it a reference list or bibliography. And I've explained here again. So when you are doing the end text, now I'm referring to that long list you normally entitle at the end of your term paper, and you say references. So that's what we call the end text. Here you must include a list of all the works that you use for your paper or your project. You could have referred to some books, some journals, some magazines. Okay? So you can either call it a bibliography or a reference. And then you give full details. Now, if it is your reference list, that is you only include the references in text that appeared inside the term paper, for example. So you have your reference list at the end of the last page there, you list all of them. So a reference will include all the works that are cited within the essay itself. You put them in alphabetical order, starting with the author's surname. So if it is a reference list, you'll only expect to see articles or books that you included inside your work. If it is a bibliography, as I explained earlier, a bibliography includes the wider list of works that you have read in your research, but you did not put them directly inside the essay. So that's the So mostly we use reference list. Okay, now the reference page format. So the references cited throughout the text are listed in alphabetical order by the author's last name. So by the author's last name. So you put maybe Brown, JT 2019. Then if there's another one starting with the letter C, go to the next. I will have to show you now what I mean by hanging indentation. If you see, you will know what it is. Okay. So hanging indentation means, like, for example, if the book you are quoting, when you are writing it, it ended up in 3 lines. So you find that the first line will start from the margin, but the second line you will leave some space, you move it in some spaces so that the second and third line don't start in the same line with the first one. But I'll show you the double space, center the title, references at the top of the page. The word reference should be in the center of the page as your title there. Do not bold, underline, or use question marks for the quotation marks for the title. The word reference. Don't bold it, don't underline it, don't put it in quotes. So this is what I was calling hanging. You can see line 1 starts from maybe the margin, but line 2 and 3 start slightly inside. That is what I call indentation. So moving slightly inside. Okay. So let us see an example here. This is an article from a journal, Brill JB, that is the year, the name. The author is Brill, the surname with the initials JB. Then you have the year 2011. Then you have the title of the article, Heal Your Heart with Food, 8 Foods That Prevent a Second Heart Attack. That is the title of the article inside the journal. Then of course, you can see the indent, 5 to 7 spaces. Brill and second does not start on the same line, so indent it a bit, 5 to 7 spaces. Then the journal title, this journal is called Better Nutrition. Journal title is normally put in italics, the title of the journal. Then 73 is the volume number. Volume number has to be in italics. Issue number is issue number 2, it's not in italics. Then the pages 38 to 42, then full stop. So you can see that. Now I want to show you a summary of a reference page. So you can see the word references there is at the center of the title, center of the page. Okay, references. That's the title. It's at the top page. You don't bold it. Then you flash the left first line of the entry and indent the subsequent lines. So Cummins JN and Butler B and Grote R. Then you have 2002, the quality of online social relationships. Then the word communications in the second line is indented. That's what I mean by flash left for the first line, then of the entry, and then you indent the subsequent lines. Then we have that space. Actually, what happens is that you leave space between Cummins, Who, Tidwell, and Underwood. But within one book there, it should be single space. Then all your entries alphabetically by the author's names. So you can see C, H, T, and U. So always order them alphabetically. When you are putting the names, one is very well formatted. Now, reference basics. First of all, in fact, the author's name. What do we mean by that? You start with the last name, followed by initials. So it means this J and M, J could become non-katana. Now you start with J. Then you put in alphabetical order. So alphabetize the reference letters by the last one. Now, in APA, now in 7th edition, capitalize only the first letter of the first word of a title. and subtitle. The first word after a colon or a dash in the title will also be capitalized. So the only thing you capitalize are, like now this one reads, the title of this book reads, Toward Effective Poster Presentation and Annotated Bibliography. So you only put capital T at the beginning, toward, that is the first letter of the first word of the title. Then there is a subtitle, an annotated bibliography. So A should be in capital letters. Because we normally say things like articles, prepositions, and all those we don't like. But now we have tried and because it is the first word after the colon for our subtitle. So the first word after the colon or a dash in the title. If there was a title, a dash after presentation again, like we put the capital. So you can see E for effective is not capitalized, P for poster is not capitalized, presentations, P is not capitalized, A for annotated, B for bibliography are not capitalized. So the only other thing you could have capitalized here, apart from the first word in the whole title, apart from whatever appears after a colon or a dash, could be proper nouns, because as we are taught in grammar, all proper nouns have to be capitalized. So there anything else, don't capitalize it. Okay. So we can see an example here. So maybe author, the first author, maybe he was called, so sorry, let's just say author, comma, AA, capital stop, full stop, take note of the punctuation, year of publication in brackets, full stop, title of the work, colon, then capital letter for subtitle. Then after you are through with that, you put the location. Location is the town of publication. Then you put a colon, then you write the name of the publisher. So an example there, Calfee is the author there, comma, R and C are those initials, AA, full stop, comma. In this case, we had more than one author. So you can see there is Calfee and Valencia. It's okay. Then the year of publication, 1991 in bracket. Title of the work, APA Guide to Preparing Manuscripts for Journal Publication, full stop. So here we did not have a subtitle, so we don't have a colon or a dash, just a full stop. Then location is Washington. Like now in Kenya, location be Nairobi or Mombasa. You don't write Kenya. You have to write the town. When you put a colon, then you write the name of the publisher. Like in this case, publisher is American Psychological Association. So you have to put that. I want to share with you something else again. Look at this, just another simple example. I hope you are able to see it. So here, if you are dealing with books, for example, okay, because I'll give you books. So if it is a book by one author, and in our APA format, what you do, you will start with the author's last name. Then you put, if they have more than one initials, you put in the first initial, the middle initial, then you have the date, then you have the title of the work in italics, then location and publisher. So an example is here. I hope you will take note of this. So one book with one author, you start with the author's last name, so that is Smith. Then you have maybe the first initial and the middle initial, KC. Then the date, 2004. Then the title of the work in italics. So title of the work, Children's Literature of the Harlem Renaissance. So you can see Capital C, just for children's, because it's becoming at the beginning. Harlem, pronounce, so we put it in capital. Everything else is just in italics and in small letters. Full stop. Then location. Bloomington, so that is the location. If it was Nairobi, we would have put Nairobi. Nakuru, we put Nakuru. Then you put a colon, then you write the name of the publisher. This one is Indiana University Press. You can see capital I for Indiana, U for University, and Press. Then there is a full stop. Suppose you wanted to do an in-text citation of that book, or maybe that book you can say, Smith 2004 found out that the placement of, then you continue with your statement. Or you can still say, Smith 2004 states that the exact magnitude of the impact of children's literature cannot be measured. Okay? And in that case, we will have put in quotes exactly what he said, then we say page 15 at the end. But still put it in this way. The exact magnitude of the impact of children's literature cannot be accurately measured. Full stop. We didn't even have a reporting clause like states that. So in that case, in the end, we put in brackets Smith, 2004, then the page is indicated there. That's it. This is a short summary of what I was saying there. If it is a book with 2 to 7 authors, it would be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 authors. The format would be this. So I would have the author's last name, then the initials. Okay. Maybe I'm really, so here we have 2 authors. So the first name of the author, then you put his initials, then you write and then you put author's last name, initials, and then you put date. Then so this is the reference list. This is when you're doing the reference list, you do that. Then I'll show you how to do the in-text also. If it is the reference list, so I'll just say example, authors, Branson, then the initials, JJ, then and the symbol there. This now is the reference list. Then we have Larson, whoever, B, 2003. Then you write maybe the title of the work if you want, Educating Rita. Then you go to the location, New York, colon, the publisher is Norton. So always have this kind, your work term paper look like this, because sometimes I just see people writing the name of the author and that's it. That's a reference list. So these are many authors. If I were to cite them inside my text and it is the first time, Bernice, what did I say? If there are many authors and you are doing it for the first time, what did I say?
You write all the names for the first time.
Good student, you are listening. So for the first time, you write all the names. Like now in this case, Branson and Larson 2003, feel that. Okay? Learning is sacred. Okay? So I would do that. Then, if that is, it was just putting it with my quoting statement. If I have a reporting statement, feel that. Then that is it. Then, if I have no statement there, reporting statement, like note that, feel that, then I just say what they said. Learning is sacred. Then, in brackets, excuse me, I put all the names. That is the first time I am referring to many of them. So Branson, Larson, and Simons, 2010. I put everything in bracket. You note here, here I was quoting them. There are more than one author. I've used a reporting statement. That is in text. This is still the first time in text. I did not have a reporting phrase, so I just say what they have said. Then I put all their names, with the last one ending with this, the and in symbol. Then I put the page. Now, when I now quote them again in this text, and it is not the first time, I don't have to list all their names. I'll just say, Branson et al., 2010, are convinced that. Okay? Then babies, this and that. Or I can say, babies still felt attached to their mothers despite their separation. So here I've not used any quoting word like are convinced or all that to refer to the authors. So in that case, I say what they said. Then in brackets, I just say Branson et al. 2010, everything in bracket. I don't have to write all their names because I had written all their names the first time I used it. In case you are referring to a journal article, this could be in your reference list now at the end. The format of a journal article in the reference list for in-text quotations just follow what I've shown you up here. Whether it is one author or whether there are many, whether it's for the first time or the last time, you do the same. But writing in the reference list, when you want to write reference a journal article, one difference in the book is what was in with the book and the journal is where whatever you are going to put in italics. So, journal article, you start with the author's last name, then the initials, then the year, then the title of the article is not in italics, like it was here. Okay, title of the work here was, so I go back to this. So the title of the article is not in italics, but the title of the journal and the volume number will be in italics. Issue number in brackets, not in italics, then you put the pages. So example is here. Bellon, LM, and Garrett, all these up to here, Rivera, E. These are the authors in the reference list of a journal article. So you put the last name of that person, and then you put their initials. The year of publication, like here, 2003, okay, in March, that is only for March, you don't, only in journals. Then you go to the title of the article, it's not in italics, open hands, open hearts, working with native youth in the schools. That is the title of the article. The article, because in a journal you'll find many articles. The title of the journal is in italics, interventions in schools and clinic, 38. Volume number is also in italics. Then the issue number, put in brackets 4. Then the pages is 225 to 235. So that is the difference. Individually, as your homework, write, just take a book by one author, and then write how you would do it in text, like this. Okay. Then, another book of more than 2 authors again, who you it in text. I repeat, take one book by one author and another one book by two or more authors, then write how you would do each of them in text. Okay? And then Also put a journal article in text. So you put 3 things in text. You show us how you put it in text. A book by one author, a book by 2 or more authors, and a journal article. Once you've had an example, like just do it the way I was showing you in my slides there, then write a reference list. In your reference list, I will expect to see, in your reference list, I would expect to see 3 things. 1, a book by one author. 2, the book you used by 2 or more authors. Then, a journal article. In other words, what I will be trying to look at is if you understood how do you do an in-text referencing and how do you do an in-text referencing. So when you come to our next class, make sure you have that you individually. Then I will ask people at random to read out theirs. Is it clear or not? Is it clear? You still have the examples here. Rodney, Emmanuel, is it clear what I want you to do? Ibrahim, is it clear?
Yeah.
John, is it clear what I want you to do?
Yes.
Wait, if it's not clear, let me know so that when we meet next time, because that's where I will start from. So everyone, you give an example of some article with one author or with 2 or more authors. Then you do an end list of those 3 references following what I said. The issue of how do you arrange them alphabetically, you indent the subsequent lines. The first line has to start from the end, and you do that.
Miss,
Yes,
do we have to like type it and then upload it?
No. In fact, we had an issue with the Moodle. You remember, I don't know if you got this information when I had said we do that online discussion. Then I realized the Moodle had not been partitioned. We are so many people there. So that's why I removed that for the time being, okay?
Yeah.
So I said you forgot about the discussion. So this one, just write it, even by your hand, just handwritten in your own book, your own rough paper, okay?
Okay, Miss, can you just
Okay, let me share. Okay, so what I said is to see, you write how you can do an in-text referencing. So I use this first, then I go back to the PowerPoint. So I talked to you about a book by one author, a book by 2, 3, or even to 7 authors. Didn't I do that? Yes. So then you write an example of how you do an in-text of one author or 2 or more authors also. That is number 2. Then you can include a journal article also. So you will have 3 in-text examples, okay? Then you write reference list now. All those things you've written for me as in-text examples, a book by one author, a book by 2 or more authors, and a journal article, you also do a reference list of the same. Is it clear, Rasakin?
yeah, it's clear now.
Then I still want to go back to an example, the examples I showed you in the PowerPoint. roles like this kind of things I was reading for you, these kind of things. So your end texting should look something like this, okay?
Okay.
Yeah. And then your reference list will be something like this. I hope this makes it clearer.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
Then, as a good student, take it upon your responsibility to do that. Then have it when we go to our next class. I also intend to give you an assignment. The first one will be in groups. So I will first of all need to put you in groups looking at your attendance list. Then later on I'll share that with the class reps to share it with you. Or next week I could just see if I could have it somewhere, then I share. Then after that is when I will put the group work. For presentations, you present in class online here. So we will do that. I can see today you are only 25. Please attend class, because at the end of it, you have to have your 80%